Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Core Community Meeting. Today is the 17th of September, 2025. Um, Today is very special for Crow, or this week is very special for Crow. It's the first time that we have a community meeting, but we are actually officially part of Kubernetes Sticks. So that's woohoo! That's super interesting. I wonder if we should keep continuing this community meeting, but I wonder how we will fold into the say cloud provider meeting. That's a conversation for another day. Yes. We follow the CNCF code of conduct. Um, so which basically states just be kind to each other. And yeah, I see a new face today in the community meeting. Hey Yash, wanna give a quick intro and tell us why you're here today?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Yash. I've been currently contributing just started my first PR with Crow with the help of Jacob and Amin. And yeah, it is like pretty nice to join this call and get to know more about the stuff Crow is working on and learn along.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome to the community, Yash. I'm looking forward to working more with you and contribution more together. So I'm gonna share my screen and move to the agenda as usual. I'm sharing the wrong screen. How about this one? Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Sweet. Anyone taking notes today? Hey,
I
Walter, I see
can.
your hand raised.
So I hopefully it doesn't change anyone's actions or anything, but I just wanted to bring up that to your point, we are now part of the SIG. We are recording this, and this should probably actually now be showing up on the SIG Cloud Provider YouTube channel. So just I wanted to one try and make sure that one of us, I mean, it could be you, I mean, it could be me, whoever, could be Bridget, it could be El Miko, but one of us should probably try to get this up on the YouTube channel. And two, just warn everyone that in fact this should be showing up on the YouTube channel.
Hooray! I mean, we already had a YouTube channel for Crow, but I'm very happy to start uploading those to the SIG cloud provider. I'll reach out to Bridget and Elmiko and see what's the process in there. I really wish there was an automatic way for us to just, whenever you finish the meeting, the video goes uploaded directly. Um, but yeah, let's see later. Thanks, Walter.
And I'm happy to do note taking again.
Thank you so much, Fabian. So project news and updates. I think the biggest one is definitely moving to the Kubernetes SIG. I'm gonna put a link in here, or Fabian, you can track this as well. Um, Anyhow, one of the things that we had to move is to ask people to sign the CLA, since we had a lot of external contributors, around 70 contributors. A lot of those didn't really sign the CLA, so we had to go and reach out to all of them, as stated in this GitHub issue opened by Bridget. So if you're a contributor and you didn't sign the CLA, please go ahead and do it. It's going to be very helpful for us. If not, your name is going to show up in a file called notice. And yeah, you can see that today we have around 27 people that didn't sign the CLA yet. So yeah. Walter, do you know like if it's like what's the deal with keeping the notice file for a long time? Like, is it fine if logs stay around here, or at some point we gotta like take more action?
I mean, it's been a while since I read the instructions. I remember reading these with Bridget like half a year ago when we were exploring what the options were. My memory is these can stay around forever, but the tricky part is I believe going forward, no one who hasn't signed is going to be able to merge code, right? So it's not just a matter of, like you need to, it would be nice if you sign because it means we can reduce what's in here, which is true. But also, you're going to need to sign if you want to continue contributing because we are now part of the CNCF, and that's a CNCF requirement.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I also noticed that actually all our PRs get the CNCF easy CLA integration. So anyone who's gonna want to contribute, they're gonna have to click here and go and sign it in the CNCF page. So super cool. What else? Are there any other news that I'm missing? Yeah.
I just want to mention, I just opened an issue to track doing some more of the onboarding into Prow and Kate's infra and that sort of the community infrastructure. So I will, as I promised, I will take care of that. Or at least try.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin. Yeah.
Sure.
I think Barney merged one of my PRs yesterday to remove the it was the Stalebot. So we have one that a GitHub action for Stalin, but now we have the Prow doing the Stalin for us. So that's good. But yeah, as you said, like we have so many other things to move. I think most importantly is the part that publishes the images, the containers, and the Helm charts. I think those are probably the most urgent ones because technically we still publish to this registry in here. No. Yeah, like our images and our documentation still point to this GitHub registry, but ideally we want to like go to gcr.k8s.io, I think. The other one is the docs deployment, which is all the docs behind our official website. This is a GitHub page as well. I don't think we need to do any changes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it should just continue working as normal. We can continue using the GitHub action, I don't mind. Unless if, Justin, you think there is a better way to do that with Prow.
I don't think we should move to, I think let's use GitHub Actions if it works
Sure.
for that.
Okay,
Because we're
cool.
publishing to GitHub Pages or whatever it's called, right?
Yes. And GitHub Pages is just a branch in here. So
Right.
all you have to do is compile the website and call some local CLIs.
It doesn't
And
feel
all
like
the
something we should
magic happens.
prioritize unless someone has a good reason to prioritize it type thing.
And I just actually realized that says last time we deployed was like 10 months ago, which is not true. Just looking at one of the PRs we merged. Yeah, actually the documentation is getting updated. So anyways, GitHub action things. Yeah, so that's like probably our biggest news this week. Anything else that I missed from the folks around here, like on the news around Crow?
I think we had quite a bit of movement / adoption around Argo CD usage. I quickly want to highlight that again, and I would really appreciate anyone having opinions to chime in on the PR / issues going on there. I think it would really, benefit from some more opinions.
Yeah, let me put here Argo CD topic. We can get into this one separately. I've seen a lot of activity as well around this topic, and we definitely need to do something about it. All right, I'll move to the milestone review. I don't think we have a lot of news in here. A lot of PRs are in flight, and I'm gonna Okay, so I think because we moved away from like organizations, we actually lost our milestones, I think. No? Oh no, milestones are here. Okay, sorry, my bad. We still have milestones. Okay. For some reason I thought like we lost it. I believe like we had some sort of projects in here. Oh, this is the one that we like left like in the other organization, the Prod Ready Crow. Yes. Anyhow, um 0.5. We had like a deadline for the 10th of September. I believe like we have a lot of PRs in flight. I think we should probably pin the date to end of September instead. I think most of the PRs are almost there, so I'm not worried about this taking more than 2 weeks. I would suggest probably using the 30th of September as a deadline. So right before our next community meeting. What are folks thinking about this?
Pretty tough.
Why you say so, Jacob?
I mean, I just looked at the list and I saw we still have the apply sets. I don't know about the apply sets, right? I mean, we talked about it many times. We deferred the discussion on it many times. I don't know if we can get that merged, but maybe I'm just not being optimistic enough. And on the
So
watch set, I'm also thinking you're the only one who did a review on that yet, right? So I don't know.
we have watch set here. We don't have watch set in this milestone, but it should be actually.
Maybe because you moved it. No, there is support for drift detection re-reconciliation, or the second one.
Yes. So here's what I would say. I chatted with Barney last week, and I had my last comments on the PR. I believe Barney pushed yesterday. I saw that on my notifications. So I think we're close to getting it done. Barney, like you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I was able to pull off one callback function. I'm working on pulling off the second, at which point we will not have any callbacks.
Sweet.
And the other one is your comment around using Go routines to fan out pruning. I can set it to 1 or like just disable it by default. That way it is
Okay.
not using Go routines to fan out and prune. It's just a linear pruning.
Okay, cool.
We can always optimize it later. I think those are the two bigger comments around the abstraction part. I think it's still open-ended. We can always revise it at some point. The hope is to upstream apply set package somewhere, maybe controller runtime or someplace.
Okay.
You don't have to maintain it at that point.
Yeah, sounds good. I think honestly probably the two biggest things I'm seeing for this release is apply sets. Okay, maybe three. Apply sets, the drift detection, and collections. The good news is that apply sets I think it's very ready. It's very close to being ready. So I'm just like we just gotta do another review on that one and get it in. The other one is status conditions. I believe Scott pushed this week, so we can get this one merged as well. Drift detection. I have a review on it, and I see like Bonnie and Matt as well are around here. So if anyone can go, I
Yeah.
mean, not only Bonnie and Matt, but anyone who's interested in to go in and reviewing that one, that would be great.
Okay, I'll give it a shot this week. I'm sorry, I've been deferring it every week. Walter, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm going to make the radical suggestion, but if we have something we want to ship, maybe the best answer is just cut the release and take everything that is outstanding and push it forward. I mean, as long as we have something in .5 that we think is worth shipping, maybe it's better to just push it all to .6 and then everything unchanged. And that way we actually are making headway that customers can see. And we know there are more
I like that
things.
plan, Walter.
As I say, we know there are more things coming, right? I mean, we have a first versioning proposal, I think, but going from a proposal to something we're actually going to ship, like I'm with Jacob. I don't think that a lot of these things are going to ship quickly. I mean, versioning we know isn't going to ship quickly because we're only at the proposal stage.
Yeah.
So let's just get some stuff out and make headway.
I think either
Sounds good.
way, whatever of these three big ones you mentioned, I mean, whatever lands, I'm happy.
Sure.
If either of these three lands, it would already be a nice release, right? And all the others can go in. But what we could do is maybe we can just say whatever lands until 30th goes in and we release with that.
Perfect. Let's like release a minor for sure, like at the 30th, and then we'll discuss as contributors and maintainers on what to do by then. Cool. I like that plan. Okay, I'll save it for the 30th. So I'm like, this is definitely the release date. I believe at least Conditions will make it. Conditions is very ready. I think there are some failing end-to-end tests, but that should not like block the release at all. Maybe it's already merged. But yeah, I'll check later. Other than that, Barney, actually, I was thinking for 289, this is something your PR will solve as well, right?
Yeah.
This one like strikes me as a delta issue, and apply sets will just doesn't have any delta, it just applies things.
Yep. Yeah, that should solve it. I think
Okay,
I might
cool.
have linked it in the apply set PR. If you scroll down, I'm possibly linked it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can we like remove this one from the milestone and keep tracking the apply set?
Yeah, we can close this
apply sets
and
feature.
like mark it as a duplicate.
Yes. Duplicate of
561.
323. Okay, cool. Sounds good. Any other specific topics we want to talk about regarding the 0.5 milestone?
So for the collections, I mean, it's good to have it in 0.5, but we don't have enough time to review it. Like the proposal, I saw you sent it a PR.
I'm very happy to push this one for another release. The thing is that I have both the proposal and the implementation there.
Yeah.
So I'll just like see what people think about it. If miraculously like it gets approved for both VRs, then we can ship it. If not, I'll push it to 0.6.
Okay, sounds good. So like,
Sweet. I guess with that one, maybe we need to. Can we set a date as well for 0.6?
may put it in a month, I guess, for now.
Yeah, let's do maybe a month. So community meeting, the next one is happening the 1st of October and the 1, 2, I'll do the 28th. Okay, cool. All right, with that said, let's jump into open discussions. Yash, I know like you had a few questions and wondering about like you had questions regarding specific topics in Crow. Feel free to add items to the open discussion in the list in here if you want us to address them in today's meeting. But I'm gonna go top down here. All right, so the first item with apply sets. Jacob, I see that you're the one who put this one in here.
Yeah, I
Did you
think
still
this is
have any
just
other points?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we have some smaller comments that are still need resolve, right? Some leftovers in the makefile or something, but this is just serving as a reminder because we really want to get this in, and we set it for 3 or 4 community calls now. So just take it as a friendly ping.
Okay, sounds good. Watch sets.
Yeah, on this one, also same story. So friendly ping. I think you did a review by now, I mean, right? So we basically have to decide which approach to take. That is still question mark to me. I don't know. I think, I mean, you mentioned that you like the alternative approach. I don't have any feedback from anyone else yet. So that would be something that still would be cool if at least one of you guys can like give an opinion here. Did we? Okay, if we did, then I guess I'm just missing some reviews on this, right?
Yeah, we kind of decided like let's go with this. We can always switch to WhatsApp later if we want.
Okay, so how about we close the old one then, the old watch set out, and then we just have like 1 or 2 reviews flicker in and we see how it goes there.
Yeah, let me.
Yeah, just seconding what Barney was saying, that I thought we had discussed and basically said we'll go with the simpler one for now, like the one
Okay.
based on informers, and then if we see problems, like we can make improvements, possibly ending up going in the watch sets direction, but we'll have data that like
Okay.
at that point that
Yeah,
indicates,
I
hey, we
remember.
need to do this. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I remember that discussion. You're right. Okay, then I guess only action item here is to close out the other one for now, and then I would kindly ask for a review there. Yeah,
Come
on the
on.
note of the Crow migration, I noticed that I need to become Kubernetes SIG member, I think. So I would also ask if someone would be kindly willing to lend me their sponsorship for application. I spoke with Bridget and she's generally okay, but she wants to have a second one from the Crow community do the other sponsorship. So it would be super duper awesome if someone would give me an ACK here that I can put them as a sponsor here. Shameless plug. Thank you so much, Justin. I appreciate it.
I'm very happy to sponsor as well. I think I
Appreciate
dropped
it.
it in the Slack
Yeah,
channel, but yeah, I
you
think
mentioned
did
it
I need 2
already.
people from 2 different companies? Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, thank you for all your contributions. All right, closing this one. So I have actually a question since we are in open discussions here. The watch set PR. And Justin, this is maybe I know like you and I, we talked about this probably like last year. And I was wondering if we can like optimize Crow in a way where like if 2 RGDs are managing the same GVK, can we like spin only one watch? For example, if you have an RGD managing config maps and the other one is managing config maps too, can we spin only one watch that filters based on labels and routes to the right RGD on the fly? Now I'm like, the reason why I'm pessimistic in here is that Kubernetes events can be tricky. I mean, there's no guarantees that events will like arrive on time, and like you might be in situations where you're closing an informer when you're not really supposed to do. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm seeing the problem, maybe I'm overcomplexifying the problem, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on optimization by reducing the watches to the bare minimum.
Me? I mean, yes. I mean, I think we should absolutely do that. I think we get there is a shared informer cache, I think it's called. The tricky bit, so that will sort of happen if we're using, as I understand it, the native factory stuff, right? There is you can't change the labels or the filters very easily, or you can't change them.
Yeah.
So there is a potential complication there if you want to support it in general, like for arbitrary cases. But I suggest what we do is we have a generic label that we put on regardless of the parent controller, something like, for the sake of argument, managed by Crow. We probably want to put some prefixes and suffixes on that, but so that regardless, we will always have that label filter, and we basically don't need to add other filters, and we don't need to change the filters at runtime. I think if we do that this PR probably, I need to look at the details, but my guess is that this PR will probably just work in terms of coalescing the watches.
So we do have a generic label that will go on all the child resources. I don't think it's called managed by, I think it's called owned. So it's crow.run owned true.
Fine. It doesn't matter what it is, just as long as it's a
I mean, the challenge in
label
here comes with external refs, which do not necessarily have the Crow labels, which means that we might want to like watch everything.
Can we not? Can we find a way to not do that?
So we can do metadata. I think I dropped this comment in there. We can do the metadata watcher, like the partial object watcher.
Let's go one by one because we had so many comments on here, right? Like on the watches, on everything, right? I think I answered to you on the PR already that there's like one thing that you have to be very careful about, and that is that you have service account impersonation, and you cannot just switch up watches if you use different service accounts. You cannot just reuse a watch for resources. And if you want to go cross cluster, you also have to be very careful. So I'm not saying we cannot share in principle, but I'm saying currently, if you want to respect your permission model that you have in place on the RGD, it is very dangerous to share watches if not done exactly as per the self-subject access review, right? That's a different topic we also discussed on another PR. Like if you have a watch like from one instance, right, with a service account, and you have another watch on a different RGD for an instance, then they could in theory use the same watch if they target the same cluster, right? But because they have different permission sets, it's not advisable to share the watch on it.
So what would be like the attack dimension in here? Because like to me, like if the router just uses labels to pick the right RGD and the right graph and trigger the reconciliation of the right things, I don't see really any issues.
It depends on the service account, right? Like you can have an event come from from another watch event that picks up an object that you shouldn't be able to watch. I mean, it's not a big attack vector, right? I'm just saying, like, technically the watch is not equivalent.
Do we support like per Kubernetes service accounts per RGD?
Well,
you want to?
No, it's maybe Amin can say something about this impersonation
So,
because yeah.
I mean, something that is not really documented in Crow that existed since day one is the service account impersonation. And I honestly did not know that users like when Jacob at some point told me that he's using it, I did not literally believe that. But
I
those
mean, what I did
it's
say is that
basically
we used it for prototyping, right? But it's part of the API. And I said it's probably dangerous to remove something that you have in the API. You would have to deprecate it now, right? Because it's part of the
I mean
RGD API.
we haven't documented this field at all. We never really spoken about it. It was just like there as a prototype. So I can see why the two topics are related and orthogonal to each other.
So can I ask one quick question before we go too deep?
Yeah.
For you, Amin, is your concern here around performance and scalability?
Yes.
So one thing to be aware of is API Machinery put a lot of effort into this in the latest Kubernetes release, right? So we have things like general Kubernetes reliability improvements, scalability improvements, improvements in things like the watch list. So it may be worth, for instance, looking at if we'd be better off with watch list than watch. But there are a bunch of things they've done to try to make the whole watch mechanism just scale better. And so before we invest, like, why don't we actually see if what the changes that have come through from the Kubernetes community are sort of enough to get us some of what we're looking for.
Okay, I see. This is like since 127. Okay, cool. I did not know about this feature. In brief, like how is this different from informers?
I mean, it's not that it shouldn't actually be very different from informers. It's mostly just that, I mean, I think I haven't even used this myself, I'll be honest, right?
Okay.
But the idea here is that rather than having to get full data sets and materialize them before you send them, it's designed to be able to sort of send literally, like, you know, send as things are ready. And so the idea is it doesn't have to hold as much stuff in memory at any given time.
So the concern that I have is not really regarding the memory usage. I think if we use the partial objects watcher or the metadata watcher, we will be good in terms of memory usage. What I'm mostly concerned about is the number of watches and list API calls made to the API server. It's mainly the number. Like if I have 5,000 instances, if I have one RGD and 5,000 instances, do we really need to make 5,000 list calls and have 5,000 informers watching this child resources for our instances? My thought in here is that probably we can reuse one, but Jacob has a good point when it comes to the security model in here. Is something we gotta like think of.
Right. Well,
Something we can do possibly is put this behind a feature gate, you know, and be like, hey guys, go and use this. It's experimental. Let's let people like play with it and see if it really has some performance bottlenecks. And if it doesn't, we can go ahead with the implementation as is.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to say let's not do it. I'm just saying let's just make sure that we need it before we do it, right? Like I can imagine how 5,000 open watches could cause us problems, but you know, does it actually? Justin?
I think I think I agree with you in general. I think here it's going to be hard not to coalesce watches, right? And we probably we have this feature which is in there. It sounds like we're not entirely sure whether it should be about like, different service accounts. It sounds like we should probably key the Informer, like have a set of Informer caches that we key by service account so that we avoid like, the security foot gun, but we aren't particularly optimizing for this feature, which we don't particularly, which we're not yet certain about. And then yes, let's figure out whether we need to optimize it more than that, or whether we can just say, hey, if you use service account impersonation, we don't love that. We will do the right thing. We won't like, we won't like cross the streams, but from a security perspective, we also don't really optimize for it. So please let us know if you actually want to use service account impersonation.
Sure. I guess what I want to add here is I did switch the PR to metadata informers. So I did address that. Right. So all of the informers and like
nice.
every single informant in dynamic client now, in dynamic controller is now a metadata informer. And so that's that part. For the caching of the Informer factory, I think we can do it under the assumption that the Kube client is shared. So if we say that the Kube client or the Kubernetes connectivity, right, stays stable, we can share the Informer factory across these. So there's definitely the potential to do that, right? But I would just like to emphasize that I would like to iterate on it, right? Because already right now, as it's proposed, it's feature flagged, right? So it is behind the gate already. So by default, you are not watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other
Makes
thing
sense.
I would
Yeah, go ahead, Walter. Sorry.
I was going to say, I need to actually go into the PR. So I apologize, Jacob. I'm going to make comments without having read your PR. But I do wonder if, there is a ways to, and it sounds sort of suspiciously like Jacob is already heading in this direction. But I would say it sounds like we may want to think about roles, and if we can sort of coalesce, not necessarily into one Uber watch, but into role-specific watches where we say, all of this type of thing makes sense to go to one watch that has one set of responsibilities and one set of authorities. And so it's just a natural role to coalesce into, so like, hey, if you have one thing that's watching for any RGD changes at the top level and is then going to trigger other things. Another thing may be like a watch for a particular type of RGD or a particular namespace, right? Somewhere where we can get natural coalition, but you're less likely to hit things like be crossing security boundaries. Anyway, just a general thought, and I'm sure Jacob's already on it.
I will say Barney's implementation did cover a lot of the individuality on it, right? But the decision we went for with the Informer factory was so that we can have smaller PRs that we can iterate on. And I am certain we can improve on it. I just want to emphasize that right now, there's one factory per instance setup. We can share that when we share the Kube clients, right? We can even go and coalesce further up, right? I think there are a lot of potentials for doing that, but when you do that, you have to introduce custom structs and custom management. And the only reason we decided not to do that the last time was because we didn't want to have another apply set madness. I don't think there's any point speaking against it in general, right? I'm just stating that the reason we went with this original implementation approach is because it is much simpler in nature, right? Even if there are, optimization potentials down the road, which we didn't take in the beginning, right?
Fair enough. I think it's best for us to just go and discuss this on the PR. I dropped a review and probably I will drop more thoughts in there. So Justin, everyone in here, please help us make a call on this one. I know we have 3 more topics, and I see someone new in the chat, Yehuda, who also wanted to talk about TypeCrow. So I'm gonna try to leave some room for that one as well. Jacob, recent pileup in PRs.
This was created before you went over in the weekend and you just managed to pile through 10 of them, right? So I will say we had like 40 plus something PRs,
Yes.
right? Open at some point. So this is from a different time, right? I will state that in advance. That being said, I do think that we should be a bit careful now because the community has been waiting, especially on, I mean, things like Argo. We have things like the CLI PRs, right? That were coming from Google Summer of Code. There are so many PRs, right? That I think would benefit from a lot of different opinions. So I just want to shout this out again, that it's really important that we get at least like superficial opinions on there, right? It doesn't have to be an in-depth
Yep.
review every time, but like if you have like 5 minutes spare time anywhere, right, just like drop a small opinion on it if you already have some thoughts.
That's a good call out, Jacob. So just like for context in here, I did some, I would say it's not really cleanup, but I went through all the duplicate GitHub issues, things that are no longer issues, PRs are no longer relevant. I tried to close around maybe 30 or 40 in total between PRs and GitHub issues. So things have shrinked. When it comes to the GSOC, I asked actually Daria, the person who had the CLI PRs implemented, to drop a proposal document to talk about all the standards, actually how we package RGDs, the OCI distribution, the format, all these like metadata labels that were like assumed. I'm not assumed, but I think he implemented it correctly. But I wanted to review that with the community before we move on. So this is why actually we should probably like put them on hold, especially the ones around packaging and pushing and doing a login into the OCI registries. So, but yeah, fully agree with you. I think there is still a lot of improvements we can do. Hopefully the next community meeting we have way less PRs. I'm gonna go continue basically do the same thing I've done early this week, and hopefully we have. I think ideally we should be under the 20 PRs, not 30. So that's the number, the mental number that I have. Moving topics, Argo CD. So just FYI for folks here's what's going on. There is actually this topic is coming again and again and again. And we have a PR trying to add documentation for, I think, Argo. Yeah. How to use Crow with Argo. So with support for tracking and everything. So this was and basically there's a conversation in this PR talking about why do we need to do this and are there like better ways of handling all this stuff in here. So if you have any opinions, if you use Argo, if you're an expert of Argo, please like help us make a call on this one. And yeah, I think this person was able actually to make Crow track Argo resources.
So
sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, I think one thing I would like to suggest as a community is we should consider sort of the positive and negative impact of changes as we're doing some of these reviews. Something like this seems fairly safe to me. Like this is just a document. I mean, if we wanted to put your mileage may vary portion to this, but I would say like we should probably lean towards merging this, even if you want to put a proviso on it. This isn't going to change whether or not our code works, right? If we want to say, hey, this is a way we have found to do this, please give us feedback if you have better suggestions. I'd be fine with adding something like that, but I don't see a lot of downside to merging this. Fabian?
Yeah, so just want to mention we Jakob and me kind of tackled this or helped this person with kind of getting it to run, right? So after we discussed it last time, I was just thinking about it a little bit because it came up again and noticed that it's possible to get the Argo CD connections with the annotations already through expressions, through set expressions, but and I think we should merge this like as it is because this kind of certifies them already to do their POCs. But I think in the long run, I think he mentioned it, that this guy mentioned it already, and also opened up another PR already where he kind of would like to have some actual solution for it, because now the problem we are still stuck with, and we discussed this last time already, are that the resource reference, the owner references, like introduce behavior we probably do not want to have.
Yeah, so that's a yeah. So I see that you're injecting owner references. That's what you're suggesting in the document. Maybe we need more warnings around it, and then also say that this won't work across namespaces or cluster scope. Just a little bit more text there, and like specifically under which conditions you could use these. And because it's part of the RGD definition, we cannot block a user from doing it. Maybe we could take out owner references if present, but maybe we don't want to do it now. The people will do it. We just need to put some documentation and then say, hey, these are the best practices. And if we do it some other way, it may get rejected. The resource creation may get rejected.
Makes sense. I will leave it up to folks to comment on the PR. Please go ahead and drop your thoughts in there. One thing I want to say that this PR is adding actually an FAQ to the website. So this will go to this section in here, which I don't know if the perfect place, but please, if you have any better ideas, let them know. With that, I will move to the next topic because I think we still have two more Barney versions and rollouts.
Oh, yeah. So for the versioning and rollouts, I have a proposal, a rough proposal. I'm still working on it, but it is ready to be reviewed. Please do take a look at it. Like, hey, are we missing some obvious approaches, or are we looking at it? Can we look at it in a better way? We'd appreciate any feedback from the community. I know Scott had some specific opinions, so maybe I'll also put this in the Slack. So we have a wider audience than that is present today. But yeah, so I mean, I want to keep it as a Google Doc because it's easy to iterate there. But at some point I will transfer it into the CREP that you have for similar to the one you have for collections. I don't know what's the best thing to do, but I thought Google Docs might be easier for now.
I think for your topic, version and rollout is much more complicated than collections, and it deserves a Go doc first before going into a PR. This is my personal thought. I think collections is just a field. It's much more straightforward, and I put it in a way. Actually, the reason why I wanted a PR is it's not that big, and actually it splits everything in multi-line in here so that everything could be reviewed individually. And this is like the main thing that I wanted from the PR. I don't think it's going to be very controversial. If it was going to be, I would like write something much more bigger, like your doc in here. But I fully agree, like to start as a Go doc for your situation.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Sweet, thank you, Barney. Please, everyone around here, if you have some time to take a look at this, it would be great. I think Barney stated 3 different ways of doing versioning. Or at least like 3 different things we can version about RGDs. This is probably the biggest topic of all Crow. Like, if we need to get this one right, so all feedback is important in here. Um, the next topic is which libraries should I be looking into for Cell? Yash, was this one new?
Yes.
So are you asking like which libraries from upstream Kubernetes should we bring into Crow?
Yeah, I feel that after Jacob told me about like he pointed me into the direction of quantity resources, I analyzed it and then I made a PR based on it. So I think the initial thought process was of obviously Jacob, and after that, when you said that we would be like introducing some more libraries to be implemented in Crow, so then I thought that what libraries would we be using?
Wait, were you the one who opened the PR to do path-based patching on the
Yes.
resource quantity? Yeah, okay. So for context, there was a PR that came up in Crow where the problem was that we had actually this was a diffing lib problem, right? That's something we can solve with the set, right? And I think by now we have clarified that, right? And then I think there was a discussion that came out after this, right? Which was about how in general do you want to like work with quantities, right? Like as objects if you are working in Cell with Kubernetes, right? And that came to the topic of which libraries do you support. And then we got to the Kubernetes Cell libraries. And then we came to the discussion of which version of the Kubernetes Cell libraries do we ultimately support, right? So it's kind of went full circle.
Yeah.
And then I think this one, I referred you to the upcoming Cell ADR that I didn't have time to create yet. But I think there is an upcoming effort in there. There's an issue even for Cell library support in Crow. Which I think Matt opened this originally, right, as a discussion result from the last community call. This one, I just sent it in the chat here. And I think in this one here, we were also quickly talking about the K8s Cell library, and we didn't have a full conclusion yet, right? So there was no definitive decision on it. We just said there could potentially be a skew between the version that is included in Crow and the version that is available on the API server. And that's about where we left it. So if your ask is which library do we use, it's kind of in flux right now. And currently there's no real library except for the hard-coded functions we have in there, right? I think that's status quo.
Yeah. So I would say this, I'm open to add in a few libraries that kind of make sense. I don't think it hurts because we don't have a version skew anyways. So I don't see like how that should be stopping us from supporting more, like enriching the Cell environment. However, I agree with you. There is like a bigger picture in here to tackle.
I mean,
I would say there's
you
like
can see it right now, right? Like you can see that some versions only support specific functions, right?
Yeah.
So if you would want to support every time the same version, you would kind of have to open up a support matrix, right? For a specific version of Crow towards specific versions of K8s.
Yes.
And this is kind of where it went super hard and complex, and this is why we have that issue, right? So I would encourage actually maybe we should to continue more talk on the issue on this.
Yeah, since folks were running like out of time in here, Yash, I would say the best way in here is to chat in the GitHub issue. Let's continue talking about the one that Matt actually opened and see if we can have a conclusion on what we want to do exactly. This is like the best I think we can do for this. I don't think there's like a short answer to which libraries we should be looking into right now.
Yeah, because my question was based on a beginner's point of view, right? So I won't be able to come to a conclusion right away with like I don't even know the insights about it. So that's what I was asking. So yeah.
Yeah, I think ideally the GitHub issue, like discussing it there, or even the Slack channel, that would be like the best. Doing it asynchronously would be like the best route. So sweet. Yeah, actually, I think it's that one. It's 643 that Matt links in the chat. I know we're running out of time, but hey, Yehuda, I know you wanted to talk about TypeCrow, so I'll leave you a few minutes to tell us what is this about.
Thank you. Great to meet you guys all. Thanks for having me. I have been building, I suppose, a library which effectively lets you build resource graph definitions in vanilla TypeScript and transpiles them into Crow resource graphs. It lets you basically use your if statements, your for loops, define statically typed user experiences. So yeah, that's maybe the light mode. It looks, I think, a little bit better if you want to go to light mode. I'll put in chat here just an example of something which I've been playing with, a code file which is basically sets up 3 stacks, one which bootstraps TypeCrow with the Crow controller, or the Crow operator, and the also Flux and some secrets. It has a in-process deployment engine as well, so that you can deploy things like secrets, which you don't really want to live in resource graph definitions. And then it has a mode where it's evaluated with by the Crow operator, and it deploys Cert Manager, external DNS, API 6, cluster issuer, and then it creates a factory to deploy effectively web applications and stamps them out. You can run them within a loop, and so it's a little bit messy. This is from a test which I've been working on, but I'm working on ironing out a couple of bugs, but it works pretty well. It has it compiles JavaScript into Cell, into a common expression language, and it does, I suppose, a subset of common expression language, and it also will evaluate that in memory in the direct mode. And the idea is that you should be able to develop very easily in JavaScript, and then deploy with Crow for continuous operation. And it also, will stream Kubernetes control plane logs, which are relevant to the resources in your resource graph definitions into your terminal as you deploy. And it can also generate resource graph definitions, which you can apply with GitOps. And that's pretty much it. Any questions? Or?
Gustin?
I was looking for the mind blown emoji when you talked about do you have an example of the compilation, I guess, of a conditional to Cell or something like that? Because what you're showing on screen right now is it's nice, but it's just using TypeScript instead of YAML. But what you were describing with logic being is amazing. So I'd love to see
I think
that
you can see that in the example in the code file, there's a link that I shared on line 112, for instance.
Cool.
So you can basically use AND operations. You can use OR operations, conditional expressions. I think type conversions. There are a subset of these things, and I'm working on trying to. There's some more complex examples on. There's string interpolation, which is nice on line 354.
I think that's incredible. I'm definitely gonna check out how you did it, and like I think it has applications. Even like it's an awesome combination with Crow. I think it also has applications. Cell is not my preferred. I don't think Cell would be anyone's preferred language, right? So it is a slightly obscure language. So I think it has applications in all the places we're using Cell, like Kubernetes generally as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'll release something new in the next couple of days here. I've been trying to work on there are a couple of stability issues on one of the things which I've been working on is the ability to support nested compositions, and you can basically define create a composition which depends on which invokes and instantiates other compositions. So you can see some examples of that in the example that I sent out. And the direct mode is working fully. The Chrome mode is still a little bit buggy there, but I'm hoping in the next couple of days I'll have something a little bit more stable there. And I think I think it'll be at a point where I'm feeling pretty comfortable using it already. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. Highly appreciate it. I'll drop a link. Yeah, I think Fabian is taking notes there. Anyways, folks, I know we're like 8 minutes running late. So yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks.
Cheers, guys.
Go on.
Cheers.